If you want a perfect snapshot of where this presidency is right now, forget polls, forget speeches, forget cable news. Picture this instead: a giant hole, not metaphorical, a real, honest-to-God hole. Dirt, mud, idle cranes, caution tape flapping in the winter wind, right next to the White House. The most famous address on Earth now comes with a crater. And this morning, that crater officially became a crime scene for the ego. Because as of today, construction on Donald Trump's $400 million grand ballroom has been stopped cold by a federal judge. Not slowed, not paused, stopped, shut down, tools down, everybody go home. The so-called ballroom from hell is now just a pit from hell. And the reason is almost poetic in its simplicity. The money never showed up. You know how Trump always says, "Don't worry, I've got the funding. It's all taken care of, the check's in the mail, very rich people, the best people." Yeah, turns out the check bounced. Or more accurately, it was never written. This morning, a Reagan-appointed federal judge, which is my favorite part of this story, issued a brutal injunction halting all work on the project. 40 pages, single-spaced, no emojis, no exclamation points, just legal fury. The kind of ruling that doesn't just say no, it says, "What on earth were you thinking?" And here's the visual irony. Trump wanted this ballroom to be his monument, his Versailles, his golden legacy. Instead, he's got a fenced-off mud pit that looks like a failed Taco Bell renovation. It's the first time in history the White House has looked like it's waiting on a Home Depot delivery that never came. Let's rewind, because this didn't happen overnight. This was a slow-motion disaster, and everyone but Trump saw it coming. Right after the inauguration, Trump announced what he called the most ambitious renovation in White House history. He said the East Wing was outdated, too small, and, this is a real quote from a leaked memo, embarrassing. Embarrassing. Imagine calling the White House embarrassing while standing in a gold apartment over a mall in Manhattan. His solution was the Grand Ballroom, 90,000 square feet, gold trim, 30-foot ceilings, a victory balcony. Because nothing says democracy like a balcony where the president can wave at people who didn't vote for him. The price tag? $400 million, which, by the way, is more than most countries spend on healthcare in a year. But Trump had an answer ready. Not a dime from taxpayers, he said. Private donors, patriots, billionaires who love America. He made it sound like the money was already sitting in a vault somewhere, just waiting for him to say go. There was just one problem. To build this thing, they had to tear down the East Wing. Not renovate it, not expand it, demolish it. The East Wing. Offices of First Ladies going back decades. The Family Theater, historic gardens, a structure tied directly to World War II, and the original emergency bunker. Gone. Wrecking balls, dust, rubble. Preservation groups lost their minds, and for once they weren't being dramatic. They sued immediately. Their argument was pretty straightforward. You don't get to knock down part of the White House because you want a bigger party room. This isn't Mar-a-Lago. This isn't a casino. This belongs to the country. Trump's DOJ pulled out the nuclear excuse, national security. They claimed the ballroom would include a state-of-the-art underground bunker to replace the existing emergency facilities. And judges tend to get very careful when you say national security. So the court made a deal. You can demolish, but you cannot build until the money is secured and the plans are approved. No cash, no concrete. Trump, being Trump, heard only the first part. He tore it down immediately, fast, like he was afraid someone might stop him, and then he waited for the rest of reality to catch up. It didn't. Fast forward to this week. Japan's bond market melts down. Trump's donors start taking margin calls. His own properties are getting seized in New York. Davos turns into a humiliation tour, and suddenly, all those very rich people who were supposed to fund the ballroom stop answering their phones. On Friday night, the administration quietly filed a sealed notice with the court admitting the private funding was, and this is my favorite phrase, currently unavailable. Currently unavailable. Like the ice cream machine at McDonald's. That's how they described $400 million. One major donor, a casino magnate who pledged $50 million, officially withdrew over the weekend. His reason? Market volatility and fiduciary responsibility, which is billionaire for, I don't want my name anywhere near this. And that's when the judge snapped. This morning, He issued the stop work order and absolutely unloaded. He wrote that the executive branch had demolished a historic federal structure based on promises that do not exist. He called the funding phantom capital. Phantom capital, which is the scariest thing you can say about a construction project. And he said the court would not allow the White House to be turned into an abandoned job site fueled by broken promises. Translation: you blew it. It gets worse. Remember the national security excuse? That fell apart too. In today's hearing, the judge unsealed a Secret Service report the administration had been trying to keep quiet. And guess what? The Secret Service hated this project. Hated it. They warned that the open excavation created serious vulnerabilities, drone risks, acoustic surveillance, structural exposure, and the ballroom design itself with all that glass was described as, and this is real, a security nightmare. One agent reportedly called it a sniper paradise, which is not a phrase you want associated with your dance floor. So the judge realized the truth. National security wasn't the reason for this project. It was the excuse. This wasn't about protecting the president. It was about stroking the president's ego. And once that became clear, the legal shield disappeared. Now the order is simple: 30 days. Either secure the full funding in real cash or restore the site. Restore means fill the hole. Put the dirt back. Replant the grass. Pretend none of this ever happened. Let that sink in. The President of the United States might be forced by a federal judge to undo his own demolition. He could go down in history as the man who tore down the East Wing and left nothing behind but fresh sod. A presidency summed up by landscaping. And politically, this is a nightmare. Trump is obsessed with appearances. He builds towers. He brands everything. He wants perfection. Instead, every camera shot of the White House now includes cranes and fencing. Every foreign leader who visits gets driven past a construction site that isn't under construction. It's a stopped clock made of mud. Staffers say meetings in the Oval Office were already miserable with the noise. Beeping trucks, pile drivers. Now it's quiet. And that quiet is worse, because silence draws attention. Silence says failure. And this ties directly into the bigger story. The seizures, the donors fleeing, the image of a man who can't finish what he starts. He can't pay for his building in New York. He can't pay for his building in Washington. The brand is collapsing under the weight of its own invoices. Why did the donors really bail? It wasn't just the market crash, it was the stink. After Davos, after the walkouts, after the laughter, putting your name on a Trump ballroom became radioactive. Imagine being a CEO and explaining to your board why your company donated $50 million to a project being investigated by a federal judge. No one wants that PowerPoint. And here's the part that should really worry the White House. The judge hinted that donors who signed affidavits claiming the money was secured might now be exposed to fraud on the court issues. In other words, if you promised cash you didn't have, lawyers are about to get involved. That's why donors aren't just backing away. They're lawyering up. The unions figured this out before the judge did. Construction crews started walking off the site late last week. No guaranteed pay, no work. These are union guys. They know Trump's history with contractors. They've seen this movie before. And when the builders abandon the builder, that's a bad look. Politically, Democrats are having a field day. One leader called Trump the demolition in chief. And honestly, it sticks. He demolished the East Wing. He demolished alliances. He demolished trust. And now he's standing in the mud wondering where everyone went. Even Republicans are furious quietly. They warned him not to touch the East Wing. Now they're stuck defending a hole in the ground. Focus groups are brutal. Why is he building a $400 million ballroom when gas is $6? That's not a question you can spin your way out of. And then there's the personal angle. The East Wing is traditionally the First Lady's domain. Offices, staff, social planning, that's gone. Reports say the First Lady's team is now working out of borrowed space across the street. The ballroom was supposed to be her legacy too. Now it's her embarrassment. And you can bet that's not helping the mood at home. The National Trust for Historic Preservation doesn't sue presidents lightly. They did it because this crossed a line. The White House is not a tear-down property. It's not a personal asset. It's held in trust. And this ruling reinforces that. Trump doesn't own it. He stewards it. And after this, every change he wants to make is going to be scrutinized like a crime scene. There's one more layer here that should not be ignored. The administration claimed this ballroom would house a new situation room. That's nonsense. The real situation room was just renovated. Intelligence officials testified that moving it under a dance floor was insane. You don't put the most secure room on earth next to a catering kitchen. The judge saw that testimony. That's what killed the case. And now there's real legal danger. The judge has ordered the administration to produce donor documents. Names, signatures, numbers. If it turns out the money was never real, someone is going to face serious consequences. Not Trump himself, but aides, administrators, people who put their names on filings. This construction fiasco could morph into a criminal investigation. So here we are. The Grand Ballroom is dead. The East Wing is gone. The whole remains, and the symbolism is almost too perfect. A presidency that promised monuments has delivered excavation. A builder who can't build. A man obsessed with legacy, leaving behind a patch of dirt. 30 days. Either the money appears, which seems unlikely, or the hole gets filled. And if that happens, if the White House literally backfills Trump's dream, it will be one of the most humiliating reversals in presidential history. We'll be watching the filings. We'll be watching the dirt trucks. Because the moment the fill order comes down, that's the moment the Trump era officially runs out of concrete. If you want to keep track of how this implodes, subscribe. Because no amount of gold trim can cover a hole this big.